Terry, hello, how are you?
I'm fine, Andy, and happy birthday. And that was Chic, by the way. I'm feeling really old. That you're too
Oh.
young to know that was Chic, and that Dean was only 13 in 1996, and I'd already retired.
You hadn't. Is that, honestly, you'd retired in 96, Gibbo?
33, 34. I retired, at 31.
Wow. I won't even ask how old you are, Gibbo, but whatever it is, you look great for it. All
And
right?
I'm
Unless
still
it's...
fast and furious.
Yeah, and you're still fast and furious. Yeah, as is, of course, the return of La Liga. It kicks off tonight. We've got a big derby as well to look forward to. Just tell us a bit about tonight's game and then just all the other games that are coming, thick and fast.
Yeah, it's actually each team is playing 9 games in 3 weeks, and then the last 2 rounds will be played simultaneously on following weekends. So the big squads are going to help, but tonight's one, it's one of my favourite. It's probably my favourite fixture in La Liga because of the atmosphere, because of the city rivalry between these two teams. It's a shame there's not going to be 50,000 supporters in there tonight, but I think we're all just glad it's back and we can watch some football again.
Terry, obviously, massive derby to kick things off, but obviously with a derby comes supporters, and that's generally what's the most important thing in a derby. So how's that going to be the main difference with this game, and can they do anything differently to bring the noise in?
Well, for TV purposes, there's going to be fake noise. I'm interested. No one's explained. I don't know if you know the answer. Do the players hear the fake noise? Or is it just for us on television? I know some of the German games have had that.
Well, my understanding is, Gibbo, that there's going to be a few different things. They've got new camera angles from places that would have been impeded beforehand with fans being in the stadium. They've got digital fans. I don't really know what that means, but they've got digital fans in the stands to make it look more like a quote-unquote normal game. But I would imagine the sound is purely for the viewer at home, and they've got the option because if it was piped into the ground, you wouldn't have an option at home, would you?
No, and I think what we saw at the weekend in the Bundesliga was people were saying the players were responding to it better, but I wasn't entirely sure they were actually hearing the noise, whether it was just us. So I think it's going to be interesting. I mean, tonight you've got Sevilla, who are in third, deserve to be in third. There'll be some familiar faces. The clubs in supporters in the UK will know. Fernando, the ex-Manchester City player, will be playing. Jesus Navas is still playing, and he is still fast and furious. Suso, ex-Liverpool. And Nabil Fekir is playing for Real Betis, who's been a star this year. They sold Lo Celso to Spurs, and they didn't do bad out of the deal in replacing him with Fekir, who's been an absolute star this season in La Liga.
Gibbo, one of the biggest problems is, of course, going to be the weather and how hot it's going to be, because obviously in normal times the season's over by now, and that means, of course, we're well into the summer and it's getting hotter. I know tonight's game, the derby we've talked about, the kickoff UK time is 9 p.m, so it's an evening game. It's still going to be very hot, but what are the major worries? Have they actually released the kickoff times for the rest of the matches throughout the season, or are they deciding this on a sort of week-by-week basis?
No, they have decided, and what they can do is you do know that the cities, Sevilla is the hottest, so anywhere in the south of Spain, Andalusia, places like that, they will be evening games. Tonight is a 10 o'clock local kickoff time. In the northern part of the country, the Basque part, Osasuna, Real Sociedad, Athletic Bilbao, they can play earlier in the day because the weather isn't as extreme there. But you're right, this is major weather. In Sevilla, for instance, I think this week the weather isn't too bad. But in normal circumstances, they'll be playing the game tonight, 10 o'clock kickoff. It will still be well in the 30s. So it is an issue. And as I said, playing 9 games in 3 weeks, it's really going to take its toll on the squad. There's a huge number of players on the bench. 5 subs are going to be allowed during the game, only at 3 separate times. So that's going to be interesting. So what we can't have is a game being broken up by a team that's leading by making 5 different separate substitutions. So I think that they've played it really well. They've come up with loads of ideas, and it'd be interesting to see. This is a brilliant game to have for their first game.
Listen, Gibbo, thanks so much for coming on. Just ever so quickly, when we were back in normal times, you would go over to Spain every weekend, is that right? Or every other weekend to do your commentary? I'm guessing that's not happening now. So what are you doing?
No, I'm going to be working for La Liga TV, but it's going to be via Skype. So I will be popping up on the studios from time to time, pretty much like Owen Hargreaves has done for BT.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So
and your podcast, is it still out and about? Do you want to give it a little plug or not?
It is Eltel and John's La Liga weekly podcast, and we'll be cracking right through this major bout of games in Spain, Spanish football. So if you haven't joined us already, please do.
Gibbo, always a pleasure. Have a great weekend. Thanks for coming on, pal.
Cheers, Terry.
Thanks, Dean. Thank you.
There you go, the wonderful Terry Gibson talking about the return of La Liga. When we come back, Toby Alderweireld, the Tottenham and Belgium centre-half, will be our guest live on Drive.
Drive on TalkSport with Checkatrade.
I don't know if you're winding me up now because I can't see your face.
I'm not winding you up.
The Fresh Prince is better than The Office.
Yes.
Okay, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll award that to you if you can sing the opener for me.
Oh, no, you're putting me on the spot here. Have we got a break coming up?
Now, this is... Go on, off you go, come on.
Honestly, I can't remember it.
Oh, yes, you can. Come on, Benji.
This is the story all about how my life got flipped side down. There you go. There you go.
That's not all of it.
Listen,
and you got that wrong.
Do you know what? I didn't get that was right, that.
I'll tell you what to do, right? Ollie, can you get the instrumental for that? And in the next hour, we'll play it, and then you can sing it, all right?
Listen, mate, we've got a job to do here. Come on.
No, that is, even if it takes 2 hours to get you to do that.
We've got a job to do here, mate. Come on.
I'm gonna rip the whole running order up just to get that out. We're talking about in this. So I absolutely adore documentaries. Absolutely adore them. Not just docs, but all docs. And when I was talking to Pat, our producer, he was like, "Do you want to do your favourite docs, like one a day?" And I was like, "Yeah, okay." So we're going to start with a sports documentary. You like your documentaries? You like your sports docs?
Yeah, love them. Absolutely love them.
Okay. Did you see The Last Dance? Have you seen that on Netflix?
Yeah. You know what? And I said that when I first watched the first 2 episodes, that had the potential to be one of the greatest sporting documentaries ever, and I stand by that as well. It's definitely in my top 3.
It's the most watched from my understanding is, but that might be because everyone's been on lockdown. But it's I'll take nothing away. It was a fantastic documentary. It was absolutely brilliant. It's not my favourite. My favourite is called Catching Hell. Now, ESPN have a series of documentaries called 30 for 30. Have you heard of these?
Yeah, I've watched quite a few of them. There's one with Lance Armstrong's just had one out, hasn't he?
Yes, he has. That's just come out. So I've been on BT and it's on the ESPN app. Yeah, that is great. That is great. That's there's 2 episodes in that, isn't there?
Yeah.
And so what they did, this goes back, just to give you a sort of subplot on it, goes back to 2009, where 30 films were commissioned in celebration of ESPN's 30th anniversary. And they got some fantastic documentary makers, or even filmmakers in. So Barry Levinson did one. He did Good Morning Vietnam. He did Rain Man. Ice Cube has directed one. He did a 30 for 30 called, I should know this, Straight Out of LA. There's one documentary called The Two Escobars by Jim.
Yeah, I've seen that one as well. Yeah, that's a great one.
Okay, he won an Emmy. So my favourite one is called Catching Hell. Now, this is about baseball, and I don't know anything about baseball whatsoever. But you don't really need to know about this story. So it's a story about a fan of the Chicago Cubs who are desperate to reach the World Series in 2003. And there's this guy called Bateman, Steve Bartman. And he looks a little bit like who's the guy from Something About Mary? What's his name? The main fella. It looks like him anyway. His name will pop into my head. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Nope.
You do know what I'm talking about. Oh, he's gonna. Anyway, he's sitting in the front row. He's got a cap on. He's got headphones in, and I'm gonna. Ben Stiller, thanks Ollie for that. I'll do my best to describe this. So, in baseball, the fan sits above the playing area, right?
Yeah.
Now the rule is this Bateman was sitting on the very front row. The rule is that if a baseball player smacks the ball and he's going for a home run or whatever it is, you're allowed as a fan to catch the ball. If the ball goes over the barrier in front of you and sort of lands in your lap, you can catch it, right?
Yeah.
And also you can put your hand above the barrier to catch the ball. But what you can't do is lean your hand or push your hand up in front of the barrier. So effectively the playing area is below your hand, right? And what he does, he pushes his hand halfway out between the barrier and the playing surface. The catcher below jumps up to catch the ball. They both drop it. The home run doesn't count. They don't go on to win the World Series. And then he becomes, this Steve Bartman, the most hated man in America or in Chicago. It becomes a scapegoat. I mean, it's frightening what happens to this guy. And I won't spoil it for you, but they try and hunt him down for his first ever interview. It's my favourite sports documentary of all time. It's called Catching Hell. You've got to see it. I'll send you a link if you want, Benton, and you can watch it when you've got a bit of time on your hands.
Yeah, because it sounds very, very good. But to say that it's the best ever, well, there's got to be ones that are better than that. I mean, I can think of a few off the top of my head that are probably a little bit better than that. But listen, I'll give it a watch.
Okay. Well, there's one here. We haven't got time now, but How the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air was made. That's a great documentary. Have you seen that one? Go watch Catching Hell. It's a fantastic one. More from me and Benty right after this.